Hey there, what's you? Seems about right for what this video is. Back in high school, I was a theater kid. So I was in plays, and I thought that I would recommend books, or really come up with books that represent the characters that I played. So we can go through all of my characters, I'll explain my characters a little bit, maybe say some of their lines and such, and then tell a couple books that I think kind of represent them in a way and how that way is. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. And we're gonna go in order of the plays that I was in. I have like all the scripts, the playbills, the posters. We're excited. The first play that I was in was The Magical Lamp of Aladdin, where I played Aladdin's neighbor. So neighbor did not like the monkey. Aladdin was a little irritating, but it was fine, but that dang monkey was her enemy. She hated him with a passion. That was the main character thing that I remember from Neighbor. It was my first character. It wasn't a well-defined character for me. I just kind of went up and said my lines, was kind of angry, you know. Okay, we'll say some of her lines so you can understand the trauma. Look at this. Look at what he's done. Torn my good curtain in half. It's an outrage. I want him arrested and put in a cage. Aladdin? No, not Aladdin. His pet monkey. Alakazam, that monkey's a menace. Now that I think about it, it might be a good idea to put Aladdin in a cage too. My favorite line. Your monkey has stolen my melon. Get back here, you miserable pile of fleas. So the two books that I kind of picked for Neighbor really have the same reason. A lot of them I think are just a couple books that kind of fit the same kind of thing. Element of the character's personality, but especially for Neighbor because Neighbor has one trait in my brain. So the books are, the first one is Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I'm gonna say that the plot's description, I written out a couple things just to kind of, so I don't ramble, because I ramble a lot. So Renegades is about superheroes, or the renegades, who are kind of in control of the city and their government's kind of corrupt. And then on the other side is the anarchists who want to take down the renegades and have a more chaotic, I think, way of life. I don't know. They don't like how the renegades are running the city, and Nova is a part of the anarchists, and she tries to influence. She gets in with the renegades to try to take them down from the inside. That's kind of the story. And then I'm gonna just tell the other book just because it's the same reason, so I want to suspense it. What do these books have in common? The other one is Children of Blood and Bone by Tomi Adeyemi. Oh, I'm so sorry. So Zelly lives in a world where magic was kind of stripped from the land, and those who were able to practice magic when there was magic are kind of oppressed. And when she gets the chance to bring magic back to the country, she goes on this long journey with her brother and the princess. Okay, so what do these two books have in common that makes them good representation of Neighbor? Fun. The thing that they have in common that is good for Neighbor is that both of them have a strong dislike for someone in the book, I guess. For Children of Blood and Bone, Zelly doesn't like the princess who she has to travel with, and she holds the fact that she was a part of the royal family against her for a really long time. And then in Renegades, Nova doesn't like the renegades, so she doesn't like the people that she's with for a long time. But for both of them, I feel their opinion of the person that they really did not like and are forced to be around kind of changes, which I think would be good for Neighbor, because Neighbor really did not like Alakazam, and I think that she just needs to chill a little bit. And maybe if she reads people changing their opinions, she would just kind of grow up a little bit. Although he did ruin her curtain and stole her melon, so I understand. I still hold a little grudge against the monkey in Aladdin, Abu, even though he's not Alakazam exactly, but he represents Alakazam. Oh, let's get it on. Oh my god, what was that? Roll number 2. So the second play that I was in was, let me find her, The Spell of Sleeping Beauty. This girl. And the role that I played was basically, for, if you look at Sleeping Beauty, it's Maleficent, but her name was Evilina. I was the evil witch, y'all. So Evilina, if you don't know about Sleeping Beauty, she doesn't get invited to a party for the baby Briar Rose. She gets very angry about it because she is the most powerful wise woman of the kingdom and they didn't invite her. Rude. So she rightfully, because she will not suffer such an insult, she goes and curses the baby to die by pricking her finger on a spinning wheel. But then, of course, those nosy freaking other wise women, they freaking changed the curse on me so that she just falls asleep. So I had to improvise. And, like, I made the prince think that he was a frog so that he wouldn't kiss the princess. But then again, the wise women, always meddling, brought him back, and then he kissed the princess, and I hobbled off into my own endeavors. Decided to just, like, not be evil for a while, and it's fine. I will now do some of my favorite quotes as Evilina. So to set this up, they have told Evilina that they did not invite her to the party because there were not enough plates. You don't say! If I'm so welcome, how come I didn't receive an invitation? Not enough plates? How curious. Let's forget about the invitation. I'm not one to hold a grudge. Am I? Don't answer that. Where's the little brat? I mean, the little bundle of joy, the Snooky-ookums. Oh, there she is. Coochie-coo, coochie-coo. I haven't presented my gift, now have I? I wouldn't want you to think that I'm a rude person. Hear me now and mark my words. On the day Princess Briar-Rose reaches her 16th birthday, she shall prick her finger on the spindle of a spinning wheel and die. I don't want to do the laugh because it's loud. She also is, like, very much like this. My, like, nickname at the end was, like, salad fingers because I have salad fingers. I have very creepy fingers. Oh my gosh, there was so much style. I had so many lines. The other role I played was Wall of Thorns, where I tried to stop the prince from getting to the princess. I was like, you won't pass me. I've got a word of advice for all of you out there. Be very, very careful who you don't invite to your next party. Golden plates aren't necessary. I was really nervous, but, like, I feel like I pretty much have Evilina's voice again. Nice! So the books for Evilina, they're not the same reason. Evilina's more developed in my mind. Evilina and Jester are probably my most developed. Charlotte's also relatively developed, but it's the same reason. Queen Petunia's not so much. But the books for Evilina, so I'll talk about the first one, which is King of Fools, which is the second book to Ace of Shades. I don't feel like what happens in Ace of Shades really applies to Evilina as much as King of Fools, but I will tell you the synopsis of Ace of Shades in case you don't know anything about the series. But the first book follows Anne. She enters the City of Sin to find her mother, and she runs into Levi, who knew her mother, and he has his own mess that he's in, and they kind of come together and try to find her mom, and she finds out secrets about her mom and who she is and stuff like that. The reason why I think that King of Fools is more Evilina is that Anne in King of Fools, she kind of makes questionable choices to kind of, like, get what she wants or what she feels is necessary, even if it's gonna hurt the people around her, which is a very, very Evilina thing. Like, she was wronged, so she's gonna hurt someone. I mean, it's not really the same because N doesn't want to hurt people while Evilina does, but I feel like Evilina would appreciate someone doing whatever it takes for their end goal. You know? King of Fools is by Amanda Foody. The next book is Amber and Dusk by Lyra Celine. Amber and Dusk, Selvi has the powers to create illusions, which marks her as a possible like legacy, which are like the high court people that the queen kind of collects in her court. And Selvi believes that she deserves to be a part of this court because she is a legacy, so she travels to try to be a part of the court, ignoring any of the danger or anyone that's telling her that the court isn't a place that's nice to be at. So I feel like Selvi and her whole like I deserve this really matches Evilina well. Because Evilina deserved to go to that party and they neglected her, and Selvi believes that she deserves to be in the court. She has to go through all these hoops to try to be a part of the court, and she just wants what she deserves, and she's willing to ignore everything around her to get what she deserves, which I think matches Evilina pretty well. And on to my third play I was in, which is Rapunzel. Okay, so you know the story of Rapunzel, but I'm gonna tell you some of the things that made ours a little different than Rapunzel. It does follow like a lot of the same things as the original like Rapunzel. Like Rapunzel's parents stole some stuff from the witch's garden, so the witch is like, I get your firstborn and stuff like that. But I'm not in that part of the story. I was Queen Petunia, who was the queen of the kingdom. I had 3 sons. I had Marky, Bumpus, and Llewellyn. Llewellyn is like the prince that's the love interest. So the witch really takes Rapunzel because the witch has no hair and Rapunzel has nice hair. I think the witch gives Rapunzel like this potion to grow her hair, so then she's gonna like take her hair so that she can have hair. So that's what makes it a little different. Talk about Queen Petunia a little bit. Yes, she is the queen. My version of Queen Petunia was that she was very airheaded. That's kind of how she was supposed to be written in the script. My double, so the other person who played Queen Petunia, she played her as like a Jersey kind of character. I didn't. I went with just kind of like, oh, Bumpus, oh, la 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 la. The main thing that I remember about her is she was very big on appearances, kind of fitting into certain boxes in a way. She was always wanting her son Llewellyn to change. Like, she didn't like when he wore his glasses. She wasn't very excited about his science adventures. Like, she was very into, like, Bumpus, who was very, like, physical. He liked working out a lot, and Marky, who was a businessman. But Llewellyn, the science kid, like, I'm gonna do some lines about her talking about her sons. Okay, so this is her son that this line is said to, which is kind of concerning. Oh, Bumpus, you must positively bulge. Marky is in the middle of a very big deal. He just cornered the market on aglets. You know, those plastic little whatsits on the end of your shoelaces. And then when Llewellyn tells the king and queen something that he's very proud of, this is her response. It's very, cute, dear. Now, Bumpus, you know perfectly well that we don't have a dungeon anymore. They went out of style a long time ago. It's Llewellyn's lab now. It's very Evilina. Is that not Queen Petunia's voice? Or does she just have like a pretty similar voice to Evilina? Just kind of like the rhythm of it is very similar to Evilina. Just a little different, but it's like very similar. Okay, so the first book that I'm going to say for Queen Petunia is Mirage by Samaya Dodd. This book pretty much follows Amani, who is taken from like her home moon to be the body double of the princess who everyone hates, so that if someone tries to kill the princess, she won't be killed. Okay, so this one, since both of the books are kind of similar on the reason why I'm going to say them both, but the other one is The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hardcastle by Taylor Jenkins Reid, which this book, Evelyn Hugo telling her life as like a movie star through like the 7 husbands that she had. And kind of the thing that kind of ties these two together and ties them to Queen Petunia is that kind of like the appearance of how you act is very present within both of these books. In Mirage, Amani has to look exactly like the princess, has to act exactly like her, kind of put up this front, which is kind of what Queen Petunia wants like Llewellyn to do. Like, she doesn't want him to wear his glasses so that he looks more princely, and she wants him to look princely instead of a science nerd. That would be her words, not mine. And kind of like the same thing with Evelyn Hugo. She wanted to keep this kind of like appearance in front of everyone, and she was very elaborate with it. Queen Petunia doesn't quite have the same brains as Evelyn Hugo to really construct such an image, but she wants Llewellyn to look more princely, and Evelyn Hugo wanted to look like the perfect like movie star to the public, you know? Even if it's like detrimental to the people around her. And Queen Petunia, even though it's making her son kind of feel bad about who he is and trying to make him into someone that he's not. So it's kind of the similarities between these books and my sweet Petunia. Petunia's not a bad person. She's just a little airheaded and wants good appearances. Okay, so I don't have the like playbill for the next one, so I'm gonna have to hold up the giant poster. The 4th play that I was a character in is Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, if you don't know, Dr. Jekyll is trying to make a potion to kind of erase the evil of men, but instead it kind of splits his personality so that there's Dr. Jekyll, who's the good guy, and then Mr. Hyde, his other kind of personality, who is evil. So in Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, I played Charlotte. I had 12 lines, the least amount of lines in the whole play out of all the characters, but it's cool because Charlotte was actually a cool character. Nobody wanted Charlotte, but I did. I loved Charlotte. Well, Charlotte's a dance hall girl, which is kind of a nice way of saying prostitute. Her job was really to like sit and drink with the guys who were buying drinks, and then I think they did a little stuff afterwards, you know? But that's not all Charlotte was. So kind of like her main role, I feel like, within like the scope of the play is that she would kind of direct the audience's attention to things. Mr. Hyde has this interest in Charlotte's friend Mercy, and she's very protective of Mercy and wants her to like be safe and doesn't want her to be with like Mr. Hyde at all because she's like, that's danger, danger, danger. And then at some point, Mercy gets killed by Mr. Hyde, and then she becomes protective of Molly, who is Mercy's little sister, who takes Mercy's place as a dance hall girl. But yeah, she really is a protective figure in my brain. Oh, this was my headshot. Okay. I'm not good at Cockney accents. Forewarned. I don't like the looks of that man what's with Mercy. Charlotte, you know as well as I do how much Mercy's family needs the money right now. Besides, they're right there in front of God and everybody. What can happen? Stella, why don't you mind your own business, Charlotte? The girl's got to learn just like the rest of us. I just didn't like him, that's all. Molly, I'll make sure she don't go out with that man no more. We gotta look out for each other, even if the other don't want watched out for. First book is Sadie by Courtney Summers. So Sadie is told in like a podcast form, and it tells the story about Sadie who disappeared after her sister Maddie was murdered. She's going to kind of bring justice to her sister's killer, and it just kind of tells the story partially through her perspective and partially through this podcast host who's trying to investigate what happened to her. And I picked Sadie because Sadie is very protective of her sister so much that she's going to go out and try to bring justice to the person who killed her, and I feel like that's a very Charlotte thing to do. She would appreciate that, because especially since she knows what it's like to have the person that you feel very protective of killed. Yeah, so that's kind of why I picked Sadie. And then the other one I picked kind of a similar reason, but I picked The Book Thief by Marcus Zuzak. Okay, so it tells like the story of Liesel with her foster mother and father, and in Nazi Germany, and how they're kind of protecting this Jewish man in their basement. And that's kind of why I picked it, is because they're Max, I think his name was Max, but they're protecting him. And I think Charlotte just appreciates someone protecting others who are in danger. Get ready, guys. It's the final play, and it's my favorite character. So the last play that I was in high school was the Princess Knight. I was gonna say the Dark Knight, but that's not it. It's the Princess Knight. Okay, so if you don't know the story of the Princess Knight, pretty much about the king and queen's daughter, Aurora, is coming of age, and they want to find a prince. Well, they want to find a prince to marry her, but there's a problem. She's ugly, and I put it in quotes because she's just not like a feminine pretty. She's a tomboy, and that equates to ugly in the kingdom's eyes. But the whole thing about the play is being like, she's not actually ugly, she's beautiful. But I played Jester, so they're throwing a ball to find this prince, and Jester's role in the kingdom really is to find entertainment. And Jester's not good at their job. My plot was that I have to find this entertainment, and I'm failing at finding the entertainment. But that's really just kind of a small thing. But Jester is just chaos in human form. Half of the play I spend on the floor. Jester also likes the spotlight, so there's a moment in the play where someone is juggling, and everyone's like, yes, that's nice, and Jester gets really jealous and pushes the person around and then tries to juggle but can't juggle, so just doesn't juggle. And Jester also, another thing, really likes messing with the queen. Queen doesn't like Jester because Jester likes to mess with the queen. I'm also saying Jester a lot instead of she because I never pictured Jester as a girl a lot of the time. I don't know. Whenever I bring up Jester, sometimes I accidentally say he instead of she. Sometimes I say she. I don't know what Jester is. Jester is an enigma. We had to come up with a backstory for our characters, and I wrote it out. I didn't tell the directors, but I was like, that's not Jester's actual backstory. Jester's not gonna let you know about Jester's past. Jester is an enigma. You don't get to know Jester, only Jester gets to know Jester. But that's your introduction to Jester. Also, the accent isn't supposed to be any specific accent. Just putting that out there, because Jester is an enigma. Once upon a time, a very long time ago, there was a beautiful princess named Aurora. Well, she was not beautiful. In fact, she wasn't beautiful at all. The only truth to this story is that it happened a long time ago. What am I going to do? The queen will banish me from the kingdom if I don't get the best entertainment for the ball. What do you have lined up so far? A pair of oriental dancers, and that's it. I've turned down the chicken act. I thought it was too foul. And you know how the queen sneezes around feathers. Commoners are not allowed to attend a ball given by the royal family. Just heads of state, the knights, ladies in waiting, CEOs, people like that. I love Jester. Jester was my favorite character to play because I just got to be absolutely wild. There was this one scene where I just rolled across the stage. I rolled, and then I ran into someone, did my little scene with them, got back on the ground, rolled, and then ran into another person, stood up, and carried on with the scene. Oh my gosh, it was hilarious. Okay, let's get on with the books, because that's may have been the reason why you're here. The first one is Zodiac by Romana Russell. So she has a new book coming out. I'm just gonna put this in here right now. I pre-ordered it. I found out about it when I was looking up this one, and I'm really excited for it. It sounds really interesting. Look it up if you're interested. Ro becomes the guardian of her house Cancer, and the guardian is kind of the leader of the house. Each zodiac has a house, and she's the leader of Cancers, and she's really good at astrological predictions. So she sees that the the guy from the exiled 13th house who is now like a legend. They don't really think that the 13th house ever existed. He's kind of like back and he wants his revenge, and she goes around trying to warn all the other houses and the guardians of the other houses, and a lot of people don't believe her, but then some people do. That's kind of like the story of this whole series. And I picked Zodiac because like the series is wild. Like, you never know what's gonna happen at every turn. I don't even know how to explain it. It's just a ride. And that is Jester. Jester is just pure chaos. And I think that this series is just chaos. Like, there was a portion of this series where I was like, I can't trust anyone on here. But I do trust this one person. Like, they're good, but no one else can be trusted. And that one person that I was like, I'm gonna trust you, was the person that I couldn't trust. And I was like, what the hell is happening? And then if you think someone's dead, think again, but they also might be dead. They might not be dead, but they also might be dead. Who knows? The one thing with this series is that it does cycle through characters a lot, so you don't really get to know a lot of, there's like 3 characters that you know like a lot about and you can care about, but then the rest are just kind of like there. That's like the fault of this. There's a lot of faults of this series, but it's still close and dear to my heart. Zodiac is the book series representation of Jester, I feel like. It's like not, like Jester's not like a great at what he's doing. Zodiac may not be like the best book series, but it's wild, it's fun, and just great. The second book that I picked for Jester is Save the Date by Morgan Matson. So this book is, it's time for Charlie's older sister's wedding, and everyone in Charlie's family is like once again in the same house, and she's determined to have like the same fun things as when they were kids, but like everything with the wedding is going wrong. And did Jester plan this wedding? Because everything goes wrong. And everything always goes wrong for Jester. I feel like out of all of the characters, like the books that I picked for Jester, so just like accurately relate to Jester. Like, Jester can't put together and this wedding seems like it was not well put together. It probably was, just things kept going wrong, but did Jester plan this wedding? Don't know. Those were all of my characters as theater kid in high school. Other roles that I played in like the theater program is I directed a play, I directed The Emperor's New Clothes, I did makeup for Dracula, I also was makeup crew chief for The Emperor's New Clothes, and I did costumes for Rapunzel. Many things I did in my life. I was also in a theater inquiry play, which is just basically like everyone, the first part of the period is kind of like telling stories of your life, and then our theater teacher took all the stories and then made it into a play, and then we performed the play. That's what theater inquiry is. I was in one of those. Yeah, but that's my like theater characters and the books that I feel like represent or the characters would like. I hope that you guys enjoyed. I hope that you guys like the characters as much as I love them. Although, I don't think anyone can love them as much as I do because they are my babies. They are my creations. Kind of my creations, because someone did create the characters. I've just brought them to life. Yes, if you want like any theater stories, like let me know. Tell me who your favorite character was. Mine is Jester, as we know, but Evilina is like a close second because she was fun. It was fun playing Evilina. Like, I didn't originally want to play her because she had so many lines, and I was like, I'm fairly new to this. I'm like, that's scary. Also, I don't have any pictures of Queen Petunia, but I do have pictures of all the other characters, so that's why you didn't see anything for Queen Petunia. See you guys in the next video.